Oh, okay, we're rolling. Okay.
Great shirt.
Thanks, man. You too. Odd. Yeah. How do you talk to me about refinance
Sure.
and when it's a good time to, when you can't, all that good stuff.
So anytime you're lowering your payment $100 or so a month and the fees associated with refinance are being covered, it's kind of like a rule of thumb, like, yeah, makes sense. It's when you are actually having to pay those fees is where it's kind of a hard gauge on whether it makes sense to do it now or do
Yeah.
you wait. So typically refinancing costs all in, if you have to do another appraisal, title
Yeah.
fees, lender fees, let's just say it's roughly like $2,500 to $3,000 in Illinois. Specifically, Illinois is around that. So $3,000 can be a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're only saving $100 a month and it's going to cost you $3,000,
Take you
well,
like 3 years to
then
pay
you
back.
probably maybe should wait a little bit till you're
Yeah.
saving some more. So for all our
makes
clients
sense.
that we have, we offer them a free no-cost refi. So we
incredible.
essentially are crediting them for the profit that we make on the average profit that we make on a deal. We are crediting them some of those funds to actually cover that. So our margins are thinner, but we keep a client in the Stonehaven family for life.
No, and that's been such an amazing tool for our clients where we're like, listen, yes, interest rates are high now, but also can't you just like once you close, you can't refinance for 6 months, right?
Yeah, so the whole 6 month thing is big. So during the collapse of 2008, 2009, and then the Dodd-Frank Act, what came out of all that was consumers can no longer have a prepayment penalty for conventional A-paper loans. So your normal Fannie Freddie conventional loan, the clients, the borrowers, the buyers, like they can have a penalty, but those penalties still exist. It's now the lenders
Oh, wow. Okay.
have to pay the penalty, and it can be severe. And it's not just a penalty on a financial terms; it's also you get a black mark for something that's paid off within 2 months of receiving a new loan. So that's where the whole 6 months kind of comes into
Okay.
play. But it's not just that's one aspect of it, but the other aspect of it is especially right now where we know that places are going to appreciate from you that has bought today versus 6 months
Yeah.
from now. So in order to use that new value or true value that gain more equity to either get rid of mortgage insurance or lower
Yeah.
mortgage insurance on top of lowering the rate, you need that time frame as well. Otherwise, from an appraisal reviewer, they may say, "Wait a minute, you bought this for $400,000 and now it's worth $450 2
Yeah.
months later." That doesn't make any sense. 6 months is where those red flags go away.
Okay.
So now you can use that value, no questions asked, and then that's part of it as well.
Okay. It's good.
Can we talk about current people that have mortgages? They are looking to buy a new home, but they have to sell. Mistakes and stuff that you've seen during that process.
Okay, so let's call it the situation where we have a seller comes to me, says, Greg, I want to buy a new house, but we need to sell this house to make the next house make like for the financial sense. What are
So-
the ups and downs, positives, negatives that they got to watch
Yeah,
out for?
so we have what's called a recast, which
Okay.
is a rare term. Not that it's not used that very often over the course of the last decade because rates have gone down, so everybody's a
Right,
refinance. So when a client is needing the funds from the sale of their place in order to put down on a new property as a down payment to get to that 20% or 25%, a lot of times they're not going to get an offer accepted if they're contingent on their sale.
Okay.
And
Yeah, right.
if they haven't listed their property yet and they're trying to buy something in a month and then they're looking to list their property, that's a problem.
right.
As long as they can qualify handling those two mortgages, then they can put down only 5% minimum amount needed for their new purchase.
Yep.
And then when they sell their property, maybe a week or two later, they can take those net proceeds and then they can pay down on the principal of the new mortgage that they just bought. And they can call in and ask for a recast. What that recast does, it keeps your interest rate the same, but it lowers the payment based on the amount of months left on that loan term. So if
Okay.
it's 30 years and it's been, let's say, 6 months and rates have gone up, so they don't want to refinance because rates are higher, then after 6 months, it'll be 29 and a half years. It will be amortized off of their current loan interest rate with a new loan amount. So their payment will actually go down
Okay.
without them having to do, and it's like $500 to do a recast, but it's something that we've done. We just haven't done it a lot, but it's becoming more popular. And it's very rare that lenders, brokers, I think, don't really have access to that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of banks don't want people to know that.
Yeah.
Because if they are lowering the loan, their payment's changing, that's less money in their pockets. So recast.
So here's a question for you that a lot of people don't understand, right? When you close, let's call it you close in February, right? Your first mortgage payment will begin not until the next following month. So it's February,
Correct.
you skip March, and April 1 becomes your first mortgage payment. How does that work? What am I missing here?
So you are skipping when the payment is due. Let's say you close on the first week of February. We just had one, they were going to close at the end of January, but they decided it'd be better if they, in the same scenario,
Yeah.
they had a place to sell. They want to have some relief.
Yeah.
They didn't want to, close it in January and then have first payment start in March. So they closed the first week of February. They now don't have a payment until April 1st. Plus, they have a 15-day grace period to make that first payment without receiving a servicing late fee. So they really have roughly about 75 days before they actually have to make the payment. You are not, however, skipping the interest for that loan. So at the closing table, you are paying the interest for the entire month of February, but you end up still saving because you're not technically paying the principal portion of that. And so you're saving on average roughly $500.
Yeah.
But the feeling of having two mortgage payments doesn't really come into play, especially you're going to list your property for sale, because hopefully you then list your property and shortly thereafter you sell it before your first mortgage payment on your new place actually arrives.
Got it. So here's a hack I just figured out.
Okay.
What if you refinance me personally every month? I never have a mortgage payment.
Right. No. So that's part of the problem that was done in the past.
Really? Like people, I can
It
imagine
was.
like that would probably, why can't people do that?
So in the past,
God, I thought that was so smart.
So in the past, as rates kept coming down, people would try to take advantage of the system.
Yeah.
So as rates came down 0.25%, they would lower the rate, skip 2 months, great. Rates came down a little bit, same thing. So it didn't matter that they weren't saving that much. They were more intrigued about skipping the payments.
Right, not paying, yeah.
What happened, it's not beneficial for that client. They were strategically doing it to skip months of payments. But like what happens is if they are utilizing like the value, your loan amount keeps increasing and increasing and increasing as you do that to skip, because you're utilizing the loan to pay the interest essentially. So you're increasing your loan to cover that. So it's not necessarily.
So you just keep tacking on.
So they keep tacking on. So really your balance keeps going higher and higher and higher.
But theoretically, is if you don't stop,
Correct.
you just have the almost unlimited amount of money ahead of you for free.
So there are rules in place that
shucks.
that pulled the rug out of the hack. Is you have to have a net tangible benefit when you refinance, meaning that if your payment is increasing and it's the same term, like a 30-year to a 30-year,
Oh, got it.
you cannot refinance.
Okay.
Period. They won't allow it.
So that's why the people were using that tactic when the rates were going down environment. Got it.
Correct. So you can do that, or they take $10,000 cash out, and then they still get a lower rate, and they keep doing that.
Okay.
If you take out cash, then it's considered a
Man,
benefit.
There's us scoundrels on every level of this thing, isn't
And
there?
that's part of the reason why they put these.
I haven't used scoundrel in like I don't know.
Scoundrel.
I don't think I've used that.
Scoundrel.
Scoundrel.
How do you spell scoundrel? It's an O-U.
C.
So the reason why the penalties still exist is for that reason, because loans are securitized. They're put in a pool of loans, and then they are sold off to governments and banks around the world.
Yeah.
And if you have loans that are in that bundle that are just paying off, then the return on that very low return investment starts to go away, and that's no good for anybody.
It's no good. Okay.
Yeah.
Feel like we have like one more question in us, right?
Let's close out with some tips and tricks to people wanting to purchase this unit.
Tips and tricks.
Yeah, so like
that's good.
2024 is going to be a big year for a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zen Master Kyle, if I was to win in the real estate environment that we are in as a borrower, I'm doing karate chops because you're Zen.
Okay.
Yeah. What do I got to do?
What was the question again?
How do I win?
On deals?
In life, but
In life?
also more importantly in the level of getting loans.
The level of getting loans.
I asked it in a really weird way. How can I win as a borrower?
You have to come in at a very strong offer that might be a little out of your comfort level.
Okay.
Because of all the other buyers out there.
Yep.
If you like a property that's on the market, 10 other people are going to like it.
Sure.
And they've been waiting for years, plural.
Literally years.
And they're waiting. So if you are coming in under list with all these, not as is, like just know that the difference of $20,000, let's say, on a purchase price, it doesn't really change the amount of money that much for what you have to put down. It doesn't really change your mortgage payment that drastically. You might be $100 difference for that. And in the grand scheme of things, if you get in that property in 5, 6, 7 months, you could have gained $40,000 right back.
Right. And then on the loan side, right, how can people prepare and plan so that they can be ahead of the game, beat out competition with the best chance possible? Like, what are some tactical tricks that you would give a borrower right now, knowing that you're on the other side of the table?
So for the majority of any offers that come in, either we're calling that listing agent or they're calling us. And we need to be fully prepared, meaning that the clients have to give us all the things that we ask for up front. It is so powerful because we pre-underwrite everything.
That's right.
So if we have a pre-approval, it technically has already been underwritten and it's ready to go. It's kind of like cash besides for the appraisal and title.
Right.
That's it. So when that listing agent calls and they ask, do you have all the documents? Has it been? And we can say, not only do we have all the documents, we've actually already pre-underwritten this file. So it's essentially already approved deal. Just we don't have a contract and we need some other things to be done. And that's it. So that goes a long way when they're looking at the 15 different offers that they have in front of them. So being prepared and having all your ducks in a row is huge.
The right team, the right plan, and preparation, right? Like that's like how you win in life. But I mean, it's also translated in real estate.
It's the 3 R's.
The 3 R's. Oh, I like that. I feel like there's something else, but I think we had a lot of good stuff. Kyle, my man,
Greg,
dude, let's crush 2024. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for educating the public, the incredible clients that we have. Let's win in 2024, baby.
Right on.
Let's do it. Done.
Mic drop.
That's great.